Today, we will be chatting about hair and focusing on hair loss, why it happens and what you can do about it. I think for a lot of people, their hair is central to their identity. There's going to be a lot of people that want to learn more about how to manage hair loss. When we think of hair loss, we think of men. That's not the case. It affects men and women and can start younger in life. Normally, on a healthy scalp, you can have anywhere between 100,000 to 150,000 hair follicles. So you can actually shed up to 100 hairs per day, and that would be quite normal. So I think you'll probably be able to notice if you are losing a significantly greater amount of hair than you normally should. And typically patients will say clumps of hair, handfuls of hair are coming out in the shower or when I'm combing it, and of course, that is a deviation from your normal amount of hair shedding. And with that, a lot of patients will notice a dramatic shrinkage in the volume of hair that they have, so that's clearly a deviation from their baseline, and so there can be lots of potential triggers for this. Increased amount of shedding. So if you do notice a disproportionate amount of hair that's coming out on a daily basis, then do go and see your doctor for some baseline investigations, because it could just be something as simple as a nutritional deficiency or hormonal imbalances which could be corrected.
Hormonal changes. Thyroid hormone production either increased production or decreased production results in hair loss. Psychological stress. Drugs like blood thinners, some pressure drugs, birth control pills, cancer drugs can cause hair loss. Nutrition deficiencies like iron deficiency, zinc deficiency. Localized patchy type of hair loss observed in alopecia areata. This type of hair loss happens when the body's infection fighting system gets confused and starts to attack the parts of the skin where hair grows. People with alopecia areata might have small round spots or larger areas of hair missing. Let's see why hair loss occurs. It results from shortening of the hair growth cycle. This means that our hair starts to grow slowly and won't grow long as usual. The most common cause of hair loss is a condition called androgenetic alopecia, and also male pattern baldness. Female pattern hair loss when it happens in women. Androgenetic alopecia can look different in men and women. Men often develop bald areas on the front and the top of the scalp. Women often have thinning hair on the top of the scalp, but usually do not lose all of their hair. Let's see what is hair miniaturization and how it results in androgenetic alopecia. Unlike other areas of the body, hairs on the scalp grow in tufts of 3 to 4 hairs from a single hair follicle. In androgenetic alopecia, the terse progressively lose hair. Eventually, when all the hairs in the tuft are gone, a bald scalp appears between the hairs. What happens in androgenetic alopecia is the anagen phase shortens and telogen becomes longer. These changes lead to progressive shallow follicle and thinner hair fibers over time. Combined results of these are seen as hair loss. Androgenetic alopecia presents in 3 common ways. Number 1, receding hairline. Number 2, hair loss on the top and front of the head called as bald patches. Number 3, diffuse hair thinning. Males' androgenetic alopecia can start as early as age 15. 20% of men suffer from hair loss by 20 years. 30% of males suffer from hair loss by 30 years. 40% of males suffer from hair loss by 40 years, and 50% of men suffer from hair loss by 50 years. Why you get androgenetic alopecia? It is mainly related to genetics and testosterone. To stop hair loss process, we need to maintain hair more in the anagen phase, which ultimately leads to reduced shedding and lengthy hair. But how to maintain growth phase? How can you minimize hair loss? Let's see how you can do this. Minoxidil recommend for both men and women with androgenetic alopecia. You can buy it without a prescription. You can apply this overnight. Do not apply it to other body areas. Keep it away from the eyes. Let's see what will happen when you apply minoxidil. It acts in many ways to promote hair growth. It contains potassium channel openers which increase the time in the growth phase. Minoxidil elevate VEGR, which promotes proliferation and capillary network, ultimately results in increased blood and nutrition supply in hair follicles. Minoxidil restore follicular miniaturization. It triggers resting or domain hair back to growing phase. These collective mechanisms ultimately leading to longer anagen phase and shortened telogen phase, leading to new hair and restore follicle functions. It takes 2 to 4 months to reverse hair loss and improvement in visualized androgenetic alopecia. Ultimately leads to the growth of new and healthy hair. Minoxidil most effective if you're under the age of 40 and have only recently started male pattern hair loss. Minoxidil does not cure baldness. If you stop using it, you will start losing hair again. Side effect of minoxidil includes redness, itching, dryness, flaking, and irritation. Some may experience initially increased hair loss, which is often the result of hair follicles rapidly moving through the hair growth cycle and shedding before an anagen phase. This is normal as it is part of the mechanism in how minoxidil works. It usually corrects itself in 6 weeks. Finasteride is meant for men, not for females. It is a 5-alpha reductase inhibitor. 5-alpha reductase found in enzyme responsible for regulating the conversion of testosterone to dihydrotestosterone or DHT in sebaceous glands. Sex hormones in the body are believed to be the most significant underlying factor behind male pattern hair loss. Dihydrotestosterone, DHT, is an androgen. An androgen is a sex hormone that contributes to the development of what is thought as a male sex characteristics, such as body hair. It might shrink over sensitive follicles, making hair shorter and thinner. It can make you lose your hair faster and earlier, leaving the head bald. So finasteride help us. By reducing DHT levels in the scalp, the drug decreases DHT effects on the hair follicles, reversing the process of hair loss. Finally, you will get new hair. Hair transplant is another option available for hair loss. The hair on the back and side of the scalp more resistant to balding, so hair from these sites taken as donors for the hair transplantation. Step 1. Gently remove hair from these sites. Step 2. Harvest hair prepared for transplant. Step 3. Tiny impressions are made where the hair follicle transplant is needed. Currently, you can have up to 4,000 grafts in a single session, which may be enough to cover entire baldness. Within 2 to 3 weeks after surgery, the transplanted hair will fall out. You will notice new growth within a few months. Most people see a 60% of new hair growth after 6 to 9 months. The price of hair transplant will depend largely on the amount of hair needed to be transplanted, but it generally ranges from $4,000 to $15,000. Most insurance plans don't cover it.
Rich plasma is taking over the medical field because we all get so interested in what's going to work best for me. Platelet-rich plasma is very straightforward and very easy. We draw your blood. Spin it down, and then we extract those platelets in a plasma base there. But all the growth factors are there, so all the bad stuff, the pro-inflammatory stuff, is taken out. And we've left the PRP, or platelet-rich plasma, there. Where we're harnessing your own skin cells, your own growth factors so you can get the best results. We inject it into the scalp. It tells your hair follicles to stimulate new hair growth. We've seen dramatic results in hair loss for men. For women really of almost all ages, sometimes even inflammatory hair loss. Usually, monthly we do 3 sessions and then we see back 3 months after the 3rd. Let's compare both so you can see dramatic improvement in hair loss. Yeah, it's awesome. It is fun because you see those parts that start to narrow. You get more hair growth up there. This triangle up through here, they start to fill in. It's just fun to have hair grow when it wasn't. It is, and it makes you stronger and healthier. Platelet-rich plasma. It's natural, it's easy, there's no medicine that you have to take at home to maintain hair growth. It's your stem cells, and it's your hair that grows again. Platelet-rich plasma validated for use in androgenic alopecia in both men and women.
Today we are looking at hair growth, and why do we lose hair? Some even becoming bald. To understand how hair grows, let's look at the hair cycle and its different phases. Natural hair growth cycle has 3 phases: anagen or growth phase, catagen or regression phase, telogen or resting phase. Cells of the hair matrix responsible for hair growth and receive nutrients from the capillary loop from dermal papillae. During the anagen phase or growth phase, the hair matrix actively proliferates. New cells are continuously produced by active proliferation. New cells pushed upward, and they differentiate to produce hair shaft. Up to 85% of hairs in normal scalp hair in this stage, after 2 to 6 years of anagen phase hair, follicle merges into catagen phase. In this phase, matrix cells cease their activity. Hair growth stops. Base of the hair shaft migrates away from the papillary blood supply. You can appreciate how the hair follicle and dermal papillae begin to shrink in this phase. Finally, hair follicle detach from its blood supply. Catagen phase lasts for 2 weeks. Up to 1% of hairs in a normal scalp hair in this stage. Third step of the hair cycle is the telogen phase, where the hair follicles transit from the catagen phase to the telogen phase. In the telogen phase, where hair transferred into clubbed hair and migrate up in hair sheath. They lack root sheath. Resting phase lasts for 1 to 4 months. Up to 10% of hairs in a normal scalp hair in this stage. At the end of the new anagen phase, hair follicles grasp the papillae and blood supplies reconnects. New hair grows, old clubbed hair falls as the new hair grows to the same depth as in the previous cycle. Hair length depends on the duration of the anagen phase. Short hair in eyelashes, hair on arms and legs have short anagen around 1 month.
Hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to my channel. See you next time. Bye!